Wow, we are really close on that.
Close, close, close.
Very
Welcome back,
close.
guys. Welcome back to the Crowd Chatter Podcast. My name is Jacob. I am a guy, and that's Mitch. He is also a guy. We are the hosts of the Crowd Chatter Podcast. Today we're doing a fun video. We're obviously going to do our picks for the first week of college football, so I decided let's go conference by conference. A game of over under. This over under, we're going to do over unders for win totals. With our conference, the Big Ten Conference, that's the conference I think we are both the most, I would say, but because we're so used to watching these teams night in, night out. So I was about to say there are two things. Wait, we're like 11 days from kickoff, which is so
Well, technically,
kickoff.
week 0 is Saturday, so there's only like a
Yeah,
few days.
I think it was 11 days till Michigan kickoff.
Yeah.
Which is what I saw. 11 days till Michigan kickoff, which is exciting. I cannot tell you how excited I am to hear two things: Gus Johnson's voice on Fox at noon, and Gary Daniels on CBS at 3:30. So excited! There's just something about it. Anyway, I guess I'm just gonna go down in order by what I have on the ESPN website. 17 Indiana, number 17 Indiana Hoosiers over under 8.5.
Honestly, it solely depends on if Penix is healthy. If Penix is healthy, I think they 100% go over 8.5. If he isn't healthy enough, I think they'll go just under that. They have talent, but it solely depends on how healthy Penix is. If he's good to go and he is healthy enough, I think they win the majority of their games, get like 9, 10 wins. I think they'll have a solid overall year. If he's not healthy, I think they'll go slightly under that.
I think I'm going probably roughly 8 wins. Um, I I don't like them. I don't like road games in some of the road games, notably Iowa, Penn State. Michigan depends on how the quarterback's looking. That is quarterback situation, and then obviously we'll see for Michigan. That's going to be the big thing. But I think they can slip up a couple of these games. I think they'll lose to Ohio State, even though they got Ohio State at home. At Purdue could be a tricky game, and then even at home in Cincinnati. Cincinnati's proven that they can be a really good team. So I think they have the opportunity to get 9. I think I'm safely, if I had to put money on it, would bet probably around 8. So which would be all right. So now we go to the next one. The Maryland Terrapins. 7.
I'd put Maryland in bowl game range. I'll say 6-6. I think they go 500. They're not a bad overall team. They're, I'd say, very average, middle of the road. They don't have an easy. They have a very interesting non-conference game to start right off the bat with with West Virginia. West Virginia. West Virginia is their first opponent, which is an interesting matchup. They got Michigan State on the road, Minnesota's on the road, so Maryland doesn't have the easiest matchups, but I do think Maryland should have a decent season. They shouldn't be bad. I would say they definitely make a bowl game, but I'll go with 6-6 and by around 500.
I'm gonna go under as well, probably close to 6-6. Obviously at Ohio State, instant loss. At Michigan State could be rough. Even having Iowa, not Iowa, Indiana and Penn State at home, still could.
They have Iowa at home too.
It could be rough as well. Even at Illinois, I feel like a decent team. I don't think they're going to be a bowl team, but Brandon Peters is going to be a sneaky decent team next year as well. So I'm either 6 maybe best 75, so still under. Still. All right, now we've got the little. Let's do the same thing. Under 7.5.
Under. Not a question. I'm just gonna say that right off the bat. There's no question they're going beyond under that. There's no. I don't even know if they'll make a bowl game this year. I'm gonna be honest. Their team is not very good, and they don't have a good non-conference schedule. They have first of all they have Miami, Florida to play on the road. That's a loss. Period. They're not beating Miami, Florida. Northwestern on the road, way too difficult. I think they lose that one. I don't see them being Indiana. I don't think they'll beat us. That sounds biased, but I don't see them really beating the Wolverines.
I think it'll be close because it's in East Lansing. It'll be a nail biter.
Well, obviously we're their Super Bowl, so they always will play hard, but it depends on how Michigan plays. Okay, it really just depends on if we actually try to win the game because we never really apparently are prepared for the fact that Michigan State wants to win the game. So, but I guess yeah, I'll say 50-50 actually for that. Purdue's really difficult. Penn State, Ohio State, those are both losses. Maryland, 50-50. So, yeah, I say definitely under.
Yeah, I would say definitely under two. Obviously, they pretty much have 3 wins in Youngstown State and Nebraska. Good Nebraska's game to be the Big Ten team. Maryland might be at home. Michigan is a 50-50. I hate saying that. They'll probably. You never know. Honestly, you never know. And then, yeah, I think Indiana, Ohio State, Penn State, those were all losses. So, yeah, I'm going to take them under on that for sure. Oh, boy. All right. Here's us.
Here we go.
Michigan Wolverines. Over, under.
Ooh, that's actually a hard one because Michigan, they're a wild card, honestly, I'd say. Michigan is a giant wild card. Will they beat Ohio State? Absolutely not. That's a loss.
That is a loss.
Could they beat Penn State, Wisconsin on the road? Possibly. I don't know. It depends. We have our team's interesting. We have some nice players. We have a lot of quarterbacks, really good running back core. Wide receivers are kind of Tight ends a little question mark.
Defense is defense. Our defense is always going to be at least.
Yeah, our defense every single year is always top notch. Now, Don Brown was a bum. We got rid of him finally. Now we have a legitimate defensive coordinator, so I'm interested to see how that works out. Specifically, I want to see. Michigan's first game is against Western Michigan. That's not exactly the easiest game, but it's also a game that we should easily win. So I think that's a very good first game for the Wolverines. And our next one comes at home against the Huskies, Washington Huskies. I love that game. That should be very good.
Prime game. I might go to my dad's house. Oh, no, I'm serious. I might give her the first taste of watching Michigan football with me because I got to get her used to watching Michigan football. I already got to try hard enough in that family.
I'm halfway considering. I've halfway considered.
Her dad grew up in Chicago in the 80s. So exactly like the fact that I'm a Bad Boys fan. I want my Bad Boys shirt. He gave me. Michigan, it's hard to say. I think I'm going to take under. We're going to go 8. I think we can go. I think we're going to go 8 safely. Wisconsin don't have a great track record at Camp Randall Stadium, nor do we have a great track record in Happy Valley. Bell throw just my head and for us. Okay. No, don't get me wrong. I love that. I love him so much. He's my favorite. I'm glad it's on team, but that's what. And then I feel like there might be throwing a. I think we'll beat Washington. Maybe to Indiana. Maybe we'll trip up on the road against Michigan State like we do. I think
I hope
safely,
not.
I hope not either. I think safely, if I'm betting money, I'm going to go 8. But I think for 9. And 10 if we're lucky. But either Wisconsin or Penn State on the road, which I just don't see happening.
Never know.
You never know, but this team's really young, so I don't know. All right.
Did I say my prediction? I'll go with
No,
9. I think I said 9.
So
Yeah,
you'll
so
go
over.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so number 4, Buckeyes. Over or under?
Oh.
I'm going. I'm going. Uh, I'm going over. I still think they beat Oregon. I think they.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
think they go undefeated.
honestly, I think that is the well, I mean they do play Indiana on the road, which should be interesting, but I think definitely the game to look at is Oregon. And obviously you got to look at number 1 at Oregon's probably inevitable number 1 pick on the defensive end. Guy is an absolute monster. I can never remember how to pronounce the guy's name, but he's an unbelievable player. Runs like an animal and is like 6'6", 250 pounds. It's nutty how good and athletic the guy is. But I definitely think Oregon has a shot at beating the Buckeyes. Will they? Who really knows? But it solely depends on that Oregon game. Because
Those are their only 2 chances. Oregon and Indiana. Unless Michigan just pulls some crazy out of their butts that we're not ready for.
it won't be
And then
Michigan. I'm sorry.
wins.
I think it could be Penn State, maybe.
Well, the
Penn
hard thing is
State
Penn State's-
maybe has a shot.
It's the hard thing is Penn State. That's the hard. They're in Columbus. If Michigan pulls something out of their butt and they're really good, maybe the home field gets it for them. But I don't think so. They have to pull.
But I'll go with, I guess I'll go undefeated too. I think the Buckeyes will just slip out against Oregon, but I think it very easily could go the other way, and Ohio State goes 11-1.
All right, let's see. Over 9.5.
That's tough because Penn State does have Auburn at home, which should be a really interesting game as well. That's actually the primetime ABC game, week 3. So that I am very curious to see. That should be really fun at Happy Valley.
Wisconsin is the Fox game at 9 a.m. for me. You forget the 9 in the morning for.
I will be watching that, but on my main screen will be my main screen will be on the Michigan Wolverines playing Western Michigan, as they're both new games.
I have 3 games that I want to watch in game that day: Wisconsin, Penn State, Michigan, Western Michigan, and Syracuse, Ohio.
Well, if you know me, I will be basically streaming every single game that I can possible, watching multiple screens at a time. That's just the way
If I would. That's the second thing about me. I work every single Saturday, all day. But yeah, I would say this team. I would say under 9.5, just because I think they're going to get 9. I think at Ohio State is at Wisconsin is probably a loss. You got a couple good teams. You got Auburn in there. You got Indiana in there.
Iowa on the road.
Even say that Penn State's going to lose to Michigan State, but Michigan State just has this thing where they like to beat Penn State when they're not supposed to. That's would be to beat Penn State at the last day of the season for the heck of it. So I think safely 9, but I think there's the potential for 10. Even at potential for 10, but I'm going 9.
I honestly don't know much about Penn State. I don't really know what they have. I know they've lost a lot because they no longer have Micah Parsons, but definitely, I think Penn State, they have a good track record. They always tend to be a good team. They obviously have a big history of being a good program, so I think Penn State I think they'll get at least 8 wins, but I guess I'll go under as well and say that they'll get 9.
Rutgers over.
Under?
Under. I'm going under. Oh, look. The first 2 weeks they played Temple and at Syracuse.
Both might be losses.
I was about to say, Syracuse. I'm a Syracuse fan. Tommy DeVito is garbage. I hope that transfer from Mississippi State's good. But at Syracuse, I think it's pretty neutral. I think Syracuse will take it. Temple's a pretty good
Yeah,
team.
but it's muted now, so you're
I think
good.
they lose. I think they beat Delaware. And then I don't know. Maybe they beat Maryland at home at the end of the year. Maybe they upset Michigan State. Other than that, they're on the road against Michigan, on the road against Northwestern, on the road against Illinois, on the road against Indiana, on the road against Penn State, and their home games are Ohio State and Wisconsin. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll go under. I'll say they get 2 wins. I say they beat Temple, maybe, and then Delaware. And that's it.
Illinois, over 5.5.
Illinois is a unique team as well. They have actually a non-conference game on the road against Virginia. So that should be a fun game. I want to see that. That is week 3. Other than that, their non-conference is UTSA and Charlotte. They'll beat them both. Illinois definitely is a unique team. I believe. Do they still have Brandon Peters? I think they still have.
Yes.
They still have Brandon Peters. So I like Brandon Peters. He's a good quarterback. He's a good player. I think they possibly could get to 6. I think they maybe have a shot at it, but I'll go under. I think I'll say solidly 5. But I think they could easily, I think, reach that 6 win mark.
See, I want to say 6 because I want to say that they're eligible. I'm going to go 6. 5. I think Nebraska's a win, UTSA's a win, Charlotte's a win, and then Rutgers and Northwestern are wins. Don't know who can get their 6th win. It have to be on the road against either, honestly, Virginia, Minnesota, unless they want to upset Wisconsin or Iowa. So I think safely 5. All right. Speaking of Iowa Buckeyes, over under 9.5.
Well, that's another. A lot of these are really good because you don't really. It makes you think because Iowa does obviously. They always have Iowa State, which is.
I forgot Iowa State was ranked number 7. I feel like Iowa State.
That's a little high, but.
I feel like 7's a little high, but they'll be good. So.
Yeah, but even it doesn't really matter where the 2 teams are ranked. Iowa State always is a good game. It's basically Michigan State. I mean, that's really the only rivalry the 2 have. So it's basically they're fighting tooth and nail for bragging rights every single year. So, I mean, it's the only thing either one of them have. So they're always fighting their hardest to try and get that. But I don't know about that game. That could go either way. It's a 50-50. And then you got a lot of other different games on here. Northwestern might actually be good this year. I'm not really sure. I think they did lose a lot to the NFL draft. Obviously, last year they had a really good year and kind of competed with Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. So, kind of curious to see what Northwestern is like this year. But other than that, I guess I'll say 9. I say under. I say solidly 9.
That's what I was going to say. Over 9. I think the first 2 weeks are toss-ups between Iowa State and Indiana. I believe those are both toss-ups. Indiana, I feel like, might be the better team than Iowa, but Iowa also will have home field advantage, which is huge when they're pretty closely contested. Obviously, at Wisconsin, they don't have to play Ohio State though. That's good for Iowa.
Well, it depends. I mean, if they had Ohio State at home, it could be a disaster for the Buckeyes.
What was it? Oh my gosh, was that 2017?
When it was like 63-24 or something like that.
They just like slaughtered Ohio State, and then the next year I'm like, there's no way that happens again. And then they went to Purdue and got absolutely slaughtered.
That game was by far the best game I have ever watched. Oh, there it is, 55-24.
That was on my birthday too. Check the date. November 4th, 2017.
Yep.
That was on my birthday. Michigan State lost to Penn State. Michigan State beat Penn State, which kind of stunk.
Oh yeah, Michigan State. I mean, that was the Penn State game that got delayed like 3 hours because of lightning.
Disgusting rain.
Oh my gosh.
And then Ohio State got blown out, and then Michigan beat Minnesota. That was a fun thing. That was my birthday. Okay, anyway, speaking of Minnesota, good transitions all over. Minnesota. I mean, obviously they start with Ohio State, which is not good. I'm gonna say over or under 6.5.
I'll go with over. I think or 6.5, right?
6.5. So
Yeah, I'll go over. I'll say 7. I think Minnesota can get 7. They do have Colorado this year, so that'll be an interesting non-conference game. I think they beat both Miami, Ohio, and Bowling Green. I think they can knock off Purdue. It is a road game, but I think they'll knock off Purdue. They'll beat Nebraska. They'll beat Maryland. And right there is 5 wins. They'll probably beat Illinois. And it really comes down to them just being Colorado. I think they'll lose the other. I think they might lose. They'll lose the other 5 games, but really, I do think Minnesota has a good chance. I think they'll solidly make a bowl game, but I'll say 7. I'll say over.
I'll go 7. That's what I was thinking. Nebraska Cornhuskers over under 1.5 wins. Yeah, I'm that disrespectful. I'm gonna go under. I'm going 1 win. They beat Fordham. They beat Fordham. They might not even beat Fordham. They might not even beat Fordham.
Okay, I will go over. I will go over. I say honestly, that Illinois Nebraska game could be fun, but I'll say over. I don't know how many wins Nebraska will get. I say definitely over 1.5.
I just remember them talking trash when everybody was like, "Hey, we don't want to start next year." And they're like, y'all stink. Y'all are just too scared of Nebraska." All these Nebraska fans were, "Y'all just too scared of Nebraska." And then we started next year, and they got blown out by Ohio State. And then nobody was scared of Nebraska. So I just don't like Nebraska. So yeah, Nebraska fans, 1 win. 2 if I'm being nice. Anyway, Northwestern. This is one team that I have no clue, so I'm just gonna say over under 6.5. Actually, over under 5.5. Do they make a bowl game or
not? I think Northwestern will make a bowl game, so I'll say over for sure. I don't know. Honestly, it's hard for me to really say how many wins they'll get. Honestly, I'll go with 7. I say they get 7 wins. I think 7-5 is a fair assumption for Northwestern.
They could start 6. They could start 6-0. At home against Michigan State, Indiana State, at Duke, Ohio, at Nebraska, and Rutgers. Those are all very good games.
Yeah, I think Northwestern could get 7 or 8. I'll say solidly 7 though, because they could trip up somewhere along the line there. Northwestern isn't what it was last year, so I think solidly. I'll say definitely over, but I'll say 7, teeter-tottering possibility of 8.
All right. Purdue, over under 7.5.
Purdue last year was supposed to be really good, and they never really showed up. So 7.5, you said? Definitely under. I'll say 5. I'll say 500 though. I think they could possibly go 6-6. I think they'll make a bowl game, but there's no way to get over 7 wins. There's no way to get over 7 wins. I don't think they get to 8.
I don't think they get 8 wins. I think I'll take under, but I think I'll take 7 because I think it's going to be Wisconsin only loss up here. I think Wisconsin is going to come into Purdue, and they got the Iowa game next week. So I think that's a potential chance for Wisconsin to come into Purdue, not looking at Purdue, looking ahead, catch them off guard, and potentially beat them at home. I always like a Purdue or a Northwestern to be a sneaky win against one of the better teams. So I'll give them 7, probably 6. But I'll give them 7. And then Wisconsin, over under 10.5 for
you. Under. I think they might go 9-3. I mean, Wisconsin's not a horrible team. I don't know how they got ranked number 12. I know they have Graham Mertz, who is a good quarterback. But then name another other person on that Wisconsin team that's like a really, actually, like, great player. There really isn't anybody that stands out except for Graham Mertz. So, I mean, Wisconsin, kind of like Michigan, I think is a wild card. They could be really good. They could just show up out of nowhere and decide to be really good for some reason, or they could end up being a giant bust. But I think Wisconsin should have a unspecial year. I think they have 9, 8 wins. I think more of 9 though.
So I think I will actually change my mind and go under, but under to only to 10. I think they'll go 10. 10 instead of 10 instead of 11. Because I think Notre Dame is a toss up, but since Notre Dame is a neutral site game, I think Notre Dame wins that. But I mean, they've got most of their hard opponents at home, which is the big thing for me. Like Penn State's at home, Iowa's at home. That's really the only two other big opponents. And they got their big opponents at home, so I think they'll be able to handle it. I think they'll go 10-2.
Honestly, a big game out. Honestly, watch Army. Watch out for Army as they play Wisconsin. I think that could be that could be an upset. That could definitely be a shocker.
All right, well, that's it for Kevin. Thank you all so much for watching. These guys out to do.
Yeah, all right. So if you want to see the latest video, which would be the Alliance video, click right above me. You want to see our other college football episodes, right above Stravinsky, and right in the middle, you can subscribe to the channel. But other than that, that's all for all of us. We will see you in the next conference video. Adios, everybody.